Since 2017, PetroConnect has been an influential and trusted brand in the fuel retail industry. And I mean, if I take a look back at how much we've done over the past few years, you just look at the academy alone. We've trained thousands of fuel retailers across the country. We've placed over 100 dealers across the country who are now running their own service stations. And through our funding partners, we've been able to secure over R1 billion towards financing of these deals for the fuel retailers.
Yeah, it's been a journey. Definitely has been a journey. And I think, as with any motorist, right, you go on a journey every day. And I think PetroConnect has been on that journey since 2017, evolving, developing. If we look at the products that we're developing, that digital transformation that we're going through now, what we can do for retailers in the industry now, but also those retailers coming through in the industry and impacting their lives to make them more efficient, make it easier for them. And I think that evolvement and development makes you a better business. So that's made us who we are now. We are committed to re-establishing ourselves within the industry. We are committed to ensuring that we evolve our products, and we ensure that our customer service also evolves with that.
The entire PetroConnect team looks forward to journeying into the future with you as we continue to power the energy industry. Yeah, but thank you. I mean, we know it's quite a busy time of the year, and for you just to take time to join us today, we truly appreciate your time, and we do hope that you're going to find this session quite insightful. And well, it's probably nothing new, Mark. It's more just going back to the basics, eh?
Yeah, and we hope that it's more giving a bit of insight as to where one might be missing out on a couple of opportunities, and perhaps just learning something new. We know that it's sort of often in this industry, it's the same old in the day. I just want to see from a different point of view. And also just being able to take advantage of certain benefits that are out there that sometimes just they're not known about. I mean, if you take us back a few years,
and perhaps let's just give some context into this, because a lot of people don't understand why we do what we do. So primarily we fuel retailers, right? So I've been a fuel retailer now, I'm probably giving out my age here, for about 20 years. Mm. In the 20 years that I've been in the industry, I've always been paying levies. And trust me, maybe I'm just one odd case here, but after 20 years, I've only just started understanding what is the purpose of these levies and taking full advantage.
Skill development levies,
right? Yeah. I'm talking about skills development levies that I've been paying, over all this time, but I haven't really come to understand the purpose of the levies and how can I take full advantage of these levies to not only benefit my business but also my staff. And once we found this, it's not like something that was hidden. It was always out there. And I think you and I, the business model that we've built is every time we find something that is beneficial to the dealer network, we always want to make sure that we come back and we share that information. Mm. And that perhaps just explains why we decided to just take time and have this session just for primarily retailers and fuel retailers, to be more specific as well, to say, hey guys, maybe, just maybe you could be like myself. You've been in the industry for long. You've heard about the learnerships, the skills and development, but it's really been something that you never thought that it's something that could actually benefit you. And perhaps after this session, you'll actually see the need, and maybe you will just, come to realize the impact that this can actually have in your business.
Yeah, and I think today is going to be about that education and just understanding a little bit more about what we do. So a lot of people, it's easy to go on a website and just see what someone's doing, but I think to understand it a bit better and see some of the benefits, and then also open up the floor to everyone who can ask questions. So we don't want to talk too much. We'd love to also just take some questions, and anything that isn't sort of certain by the end of the session. So maybe we must just cover a little bit about Petra Connect.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people actually have come to know of Petra Connect. I'm not going to dwell into much detail. Petra Connect, we obviously do quite a number of things, and we've got a range of professional services, that bring significant value to the fuel retail industry. So, I mean, our suite of services, Mark, involves like your service stations, the financial. I mean, we enhance the service station operations in the main. That is really what we focus on. And we work with different financial institutions and oil companies, and we provide a wide, array of benefits, primarily for a fuel retailer.
I think today's obviously is in the focus of how the skills development side is a huge, critical and fundamental part of what Petra Connect offers, and that's to new retailers that are looking to get into the industry and need to understand it a bit better, and then of course retailers that are already in the industry and could have been in the industry for many years. So covering the other aspects of your sale of service stations and labor relations, and how we aim to make back office systems a lot better and improved efficiencies. That's what we're all about, and to Sponelo's point in terms of sharing what we can during the journey, because it is a lonely journey, I think, in many cases, as it is for any entrepreneur, right? And speaking to a retailer this morning who's having big challenges on his site, I mean, as his exact words were, "It's a lonely journey," because you're needing support from different angles, and to be educated along the way on where you can save here or benefit here, and
Sure.
So let's jump into the skills development sections.
Yeah. So I think, what is skills, right? So skills is basically just short programs that are designed to enhance and develop specific interventions in a life of a worker. Now, skills and development basically speaks to developing those particular skills that would have been identified as maybe some of the gaps that would have been identified. Now, there's a long process that goes towards identifying such skills. And I don't want to bombard you with big terminologies here, but every company must go through a work skills plan, what they refer to as WSP. So every year, this work skills plan basically just, it's an assessment of what stuff do you have, what sort of skills are they lacking, and once you put all that plan together, you'd work then with your respective SETA. In our case, it's a wholesale and retail SETA, and say, for company X, these are the skills that we have identified that need to be addressed. And we would like funding to close those gaps, right? So skills and development basically then talks to those interventions to help your staff perform better, to help your staff be upskilled.
And I think if you do look at the importance, I mean, I don't think anyone can really say that it's not important. I don't think that's a question mark. I think it's sometimes those costs that go with having to train, and I think that's it's a big balance that one has to find, because of looking for a cost-effective solution, but making sure that you've got trained up staff, and staff that want to be at site, staff that want to drive the business forward. And I think if you look at the industry employing over 100,000 Petra attendants, they're your face. How do we upskill them more? How do we even upskill the managers more? What is on offer from a bursary perspective? That sometimes it's not about the dealer having to pay to send someone on an institution that can train a manager over 3 years, for example. it's a wonderful way of actually having loyal staff as
developing your staff.
Absolutely.
You know, that is why it's skills development, you know. It's something that you keep enhancing, you keep sharpening. It's a skill that you keep making better and better by the day, you know, over time. So that's basically skills development. But and you're saying, you know, you've been touching on things like bursaries and all those kind of things. And I think as fuel retailers, we've had staff that have been with us for 20 years that have never really been developed because we didn't know. We thought that we needed to pay from our pockets to do these things. But if you, I mean, we will probably cover this more, but there are window periods that the WNRC, to be more specific, would open and say, guys, if you've got people that are looking for bursaries, please send them through, you know? And we've taken a decision now to just come and assist dealers to facilitate this process, because obviously there are processes that you have to follow with your WNRC, you know, in order to partake in all these initiatives that they've come with.
I think the process is exactly going to be the, you know, aspect that we're going to look at just now.
Yeah.
Because that's fundamental. It's not a matter of picking up the phone, phoning the CETA and saying I'm training tomorrow. You know, it's a whole process of ensuring that you do it the right way, that there are, you know, checks and balances also put in the whole time as well.
You know, I mentioned that, you know, some of us have got staff that have been in our industry for donkey years, but the reality is that these people have not. And, you know, you find a manager that came, he probably had standard 9, yeah? But he's grown through the ranks and he's become such an important, critical member of your business and has managed your business and is really great, you know? But because they've got standard 9, they are not recognized as a professional. Hence, then your WNRC or your CETAs have come with a program called RPL, you know, recognition for prior learning. And this really seeks to also close the gap so that these particular people are not disadvantaged because they know the job, they know everything that has to be done. They've just never been to a formal process of education. So these are all the interventions that the CETAs have come with, which greatly benefit your employees.
Absolutely. And I mean, you might be saying, who is the WNR CETA? What do they do? And you know, Sponello mentioned earlier that the WNR CETA is the CETA that fuel retailers belong to. WNR CETA, I mean, they've got a simple mission, and you know, I'm gonna state it exactly what WNR CETA say, that their mission is to develop a skilled, capable, competent, and professional workforce to transform the wholesale and retail sector. So I think if one looks at that just as a simple, you know, mission of what WNR CETA does, they aim to facilitate that through the funding that comes through from your levies. So levies are paid, comes into the WNR CETA. The WNR CETA now want to help you know, business owners upskill. They want to be directly involved in making sure that there's upskilling, there's, you know, unemployed that are becoming employed, that, you know, we're able to change the way that the landscape looks when it comes to development of others. Maybe you can just cover the learnership and skills program, how it works.
So I think learnerships have really now started becoming a bit of a buzzword. You know, everybody like learnerships. And I think over the last few years, I've started seeing a lot of retailers, and this has been driven largely by the Fuel Retailers Association. You know, have been really pushing the learnerships into our sites. While that has been absolutely amazing, the big part that was lacking, which I think you and I just found out about 2 years ago or so, was that there are certain benefits that we have not been taking advantage of, you know, in as far as learnerships are concerned. We've only been focusing on, getting subsidized labor and creating employment and all that, which is great and fantastic. But it's really there's a lot more, and I'm sure you'll touch on that later. But what is what is a learnership? So basically, a learnership is a structured learning program that combines theory and practical learning. So if you look at it, I think the ratio is about 30% theory and 70% practical. So for those dealers that would be taking learnerships, please understand that at some point they also need to go to class and learn. So don't feel like you're wasting time in class. It is part of a learning program. They have to finish a year in that learning program, and it's a qualification. So it's a recognized qualification by WNR-CITA. But when you look at skills are short programs that are designed, as I said earlier, just to address specific interventions, but very short programs. It could be a 2-day course, it could be a 4-day course, depending on the unit standards. So that is really the difference between the two. So where we would try and find a balance between the two, while you are focusing on learnerships, but it's also important not to forget about the short skills. Your communication skills, Mark, your time management, leadership, conflict resolution. Now, these are not qualifications. These are short programs that are designed for a specific intervention.
And as you'll see on the screen, the various programs that are on offer, it covers most aspects of a site, but it does mean that it's much quicker, and obviously you don't have staff that are going to go off site for any period other than that. So learnership is obviously covering a much longer period, and there's consistent learning from a theoretical perspective and from a practical perspective. The biggest percentage sits in the practical component, where they are on site. They become part of your workforce. It's not a separate workforce. After the training period that you have on site, and many dealers have different types of training periods. I might say, I want the person, coupled with someone else for the next 3 weeks. It could be 2 weeks. It just depends on that retailer. But then they get their own tags. If you want to look at it as that, they get their own tags. They become part of your workforce, and that's where we talk about the labor cost saving. Is that you're not hiring more individuals on a full-time basis. You're bringing them in under learnerships, which means if you get 5 learnerships, you've got 5 staff for your site. But the short skills really teaches specific things. And at the end of the day, those are staff that are on your site, not just the people coming through learnership. We're looking at perhaps we get 20 people, could be 10 people that are on your site that you say, I want to identify all my supervisors and put them through conflict management training or communications training, because that is imperative to the successful running of the site itself. So those short skills become part of this program. So if you're looking at learnerships, you're looking at short skills, you're looking at projects that that PetroConnect also does run, and you get those benefits. Basically going through this within a year.
If there's any time that you need to take your staff for conflict resolution, is when the price of fuel goes up. That first week after sharp increase, the amount of people that come into your site saying they didn't fill my car, the needle didn't move. I watched a TikTok video showing how they actually put air in my car, and I've seen it, red-handed. I've caught them just because, and that is really, and most staff are not trained on how to handle such customers. So these are just kind of skills that are very critical.
And when the decline card,
cards
declines, and
SMS
has
gone through. But the money hasn't hit your bank account, and you have to face this irate customer who came here, by the way, not happy in the first place. That's this damn car. I just filled yesterday and I'm here again. And I'm trying to pay its month end. And this is the last money he's got in his bank account. And now he hasn't got access to this money. Eh?
You actually see the conflicts increasing quite a bit lately when it comes to load shedding, because your power goes down, all of a sudden the towers don't come up straight away, customer swaps, and there it shows declined.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was in a store only this past weekend, not a site, but the cashier just tapped, and then it shows declined immediately on the screen. But that area had absolutely no towers. But she just looks and she says it's declined, and then it's sort of like, well, you know, it already makes your blood pressure rise. You know, I mean, it's you know in the back of your head that the funds are there, but everyone will always say to the attendant, but I've got the funds. Are you saying I don't have money?
No. I heard one cashier the one time. There's no money, sir. There's a long queue, and this customer like pays this declines. You don't have money, sir. Please pay. Try and pay by another. I'm like, oh God, oh no. But anyway, so these are just, and I think, you know, we would think this is, you know, common sense, everybody, but people need to be trained.
Need to be trained, but also getting that feeling of fulfillment once they've left that training, that they can handle more. Yeah. And we're going to be playing a video a little bit later that really speaks to a couple of the staff that have actually been through you know, some of these short skills programs, and you know how they've benefited them and how they come away feeling much more fulfilled. You know, maybe just cover the grant funding windows and how that works.
Yeah, this is just going to be quick. So I think after financial year end, your SETAs will open a window. So this is now opening up for companies to send through their, for lack of a better word, applications and requests. After financial year end, SETA would then open a window inviting companies to send through their proposals. And as I said, if we act on your behalf, you would have appointed us as your skills development facilitator. We would then send through our proposal, including your company, to say, we need for your company, we've identified these shortages. We can take 10 learnerships, for example. We apply for 20 skills, depending on a number of factors. And then you become part of the group of the companies that would submit the requests to the WNR SETA. So they open this window. Perhaps some time, you know, during the year, they also would still open up again and say, hey, look, we've got supplementary numbers that you can still apply for, and so forth. So I think yours is simple. If you really want us to assist you with this one, you then appoint us. It's a simple appointment letter. It's not a contract. It's nothing too hectic. It's just appointing us to act as your representative within the WNR SETA. And we'll then be watching all these things. If there's any windows that are open, we then know that we represent you and your company as well.
And from a short skills perspective?
Similarly, with the short skills, so sometimes we can even send a proposal without any window that's being opened. We can just say to the SETA, hey, we've identified this shortage within the service station. We would like you to fund us to train 1,000 cashiers, 1,000 attendants. And depending on, you know, SETA's budget and all that, then SETA may then say, no, please, you can train 300. Then we can come and take maybe 5 from your staff and so forth. This costs you nothing, by the way. So it costs a dealer nothing. Or if a dealer then says, okay, but this is something different. I just wanted to stick to the CETA sponsored ones in this case. So it really, so these are your levies that are working for you. So this is you taking full advantage of the levies that you pay, because many of you are paying levies, but you're not benefiting anything from it because you are not taking active steps in making sure that you partake.
So I think the biggest part of this is just to understand the numbers. So I just want to go through these numbers that are on the screen. Obviously, some of these things are approximated because things like your staff wages, I mean, that's an up and down, thing when it comes to a site. There's overtimes and all of that. So, we're talking average numbers here. So Sponello mentioned a bit earlier around the stipends that the CETA pays. So if you have unemployed learners that are awarded to your site, so in this case, we're looking at 5 learners that have been awarded. They receive stipends every month. And those stipends really are the wages, ultimately. So if you've got 5 people, we're looking at 3,000 Rand a month per person, which then equates to 36,000. And then on top of that, looking at that times by the total number of learners, in this case, we're looking at 5 learners. So there's the stipends part. Yes, that wasn't necessarily going to be coming straight to you. It's a matter of saying, well, I've got 5 extra staff members. I would have had to pay them. So here's what I'm getting out of it is the stipends. In red, you're going to look at the savings. So we're looking at normal wages. So if you look at just normal wages to bring in 5 staff members, an average of 7,000 Rand. Fine, can be up and down, but if we look at the current hourly rate that you're paying staff members, minimum really that they're on is 7,000 a month, and then that equates to 420,000 Rand in an annual period. Now, immediately you're seeing that saving. Fine, you may say, but I don't need the 5 staff. Everything happens. There's a lot that happens during the year at a site, right? You're going to have dismissals. You might have resignations. There's those sort of particular times. But at the end of the day, you want the best service on site. So even if you're adding 5 staff members, what you want to be seeing is that your service levels increase. You might have gaps on the forecourt saying, sure, I actually really want to hire another 2 people, hire another 4 people on your site. However, it's just too tough on wages and so on. We see a lot now with particular service stations around the country. There's very much peak times on sites. It's always been there. You'll say, well, my peak time is in the afternoons between 3 and 5, as an example. In the morning rush from 7 to 8:30. But when you look at that, it's changing quite a lot as the market changes. It changes even from season to season, summer to winter. When are the taxis running earlier? When are the taxis running later? Sometimes they have a lengthier period. But that all affects how you roster. It all affects how many staff you need. But you also know that, the highest cost in any service station is labor.
Labor, definitely.
That's your highest expense.
Yeah, pushed by overtime in the main.
So it's overtime, and because you don't want to be hiring 1 extra person or 2 extra people because of exactly what I've spoken to earlier. So this is where the benefit then comes in, and that's your potential saving. If I want to look at the 12H benefit now, which is really the tax saving that Sponello was referring to earlier that we would get to, that is a huge gap that many retailers have not taken advantage of for the skills training that they're doing on a service station. So for 4 able-bodied learners, and this case deals with 4 learners that have a disability, there's a 40,000 Rand on start. So it's basically, we call it annual completion or annual allowance. So it's when your financials come up, so let's say it's the 28th Feb, that is your 40K. And that's not 40,000 Rand that you get given, but that is towards your taxable income. That's calculated obviously in Feb if your financial year end is Feb. Further 40,000 Rand on completion of the learnership. So once a learnership, let's say it starts, just use an example, it starts July to July, you'll be receiving the one in that Feb year, and the following year you'll be receiving the completion allowance. For disabled learner, 60 and 60. So disabled learner does get a little bit more. So in this case, we're looking at 320,000 and 120,000, giving us the 440,000 Rand, which comes basically immediately out of your taxable income. They give it straight back through your taxable income, with SARS. And as you can see, the potential benefit against your taxable income is 118,800. Now, you would have basically had to pay this out to the taxman.
Yeah.
That's what would have happened. You would have had to pay it out, and that would have been it. You wouldn't have been able to see that cash. So as much as it's once a year that you're going to be paying it, through your prov tax and your final tax, you do see this benefit. The ETR saving, this obviously you can get on any site where it's a person of youth that is being employed, which equates to 1,000 Rand per learner.
And shockingly, Mark, most service stations, I'd say 80% of the people who employ are youth. But if I were to ask how many dealers are actually taking advantage of that?
So, you've got the ETR grant, and something that a lot of retailers have got accountants that might be handling their mandatory grants. That is something that we would also help with in terms of getting back 20% immediately into your hands of your levies. So if you're paying 1% levies across your payroll, we would claim back that 20% for you, which is a massive thing, right? Some of you may already be getting that part, but you're not getting the discretionary grants. So it's broken up into two mandatory grants, which speaks to the 20% of levies. And then, on top of that is discretionary grant. We're going to just redisplay that table for you just so that you can see. But we'll also make sure that this table, if you do speak to us afterwards, we'd be able to share this entire thing with you so you understand how these benefits come in. So we'll take some questions on this at the end in terms of any, and we can go back to that table, but it's really just to show you the potential that you're going to see. This is not mentioning the potential that you're seeing from the actual upskilling that is going on. Yeah. So we're not talking about volume growth or just being able to look after the customers
client
that you currently
retention.
Have. You need to be able to protect your clients that are with you these days. I know everyone is driving for more sales and pushing, and you have got oil companies that are pushing you for more sales as well. That is not the only thing that we need to worry about. We actually need to protect the current market.
Retain your customers.
Markets against pressure. You've got a lot of competition in the market and new sites being built. Let's cover the offering so that we can get to some questions, because I know there's quite a number of questions coming.
I think I'm going to be quick here. I think I did touch on this earlier on, Mark. For us to be able to assist you in this, and by the way, you can go to your, if you've got whoever it is that's helping you, that's very much, you can do that. But if you don't have anyone helping you in as far as skills and development is concerned, you would then need to appoint us as your skills development facilitator. As I said, it's a simple letter. It's not a contract. It's not a binding contract or anything. All it does, it gives us NCTA permission to talk to us on your behalf. So, and we can talk to them on your behalf. That's basically what it is. So you just appoint us. There is no fee in appointing us to be your SDF. Then we can liaise between WNR-SETA and your company. We can apply on your behalf. We can do all these things on your behalf. We can then do training needs analysis. I did say earlier on that, with the with the work skills plan, we would have done some training needs analysis to identify potential gaps and potential interventions. Then we then apply, we submit the WSPs to the CETA on your behalf, informed by the training needs analysis that would have done. So that's basically how this offering works.
So I mean, the magic here is to understand how the numbers work from our end, and it's very transparent, very clear. We look at a primary, secondary, and a flat model. The primary model does deal with a retainer, but you pay for none of the training. You pay for none of those benefits that will follow. So the retainer really, covers everything from what Bonetta was talking about in terms of the liaison, doing all your workplace skills plans, and there's a whole list of services that we will also pop you after this, which really, it covers your entire training needs for the year. So we act as that skills development facilitator, and the management and delivery fee that is referred to in here is not paid by you, that is paid by the CETA, which would obviously come back to PetroConnect. The tax allowances, the stipends, all of those other benefits goes directly to you as the retailer.
Yeah.
From a secondary model perspective, that is where there's no monthly retainer. So you basically just sign the letter. It's not costing you a cent. The CETA funded management delivery fees, you won't pay for any of that. But how then we look at it is that anything that we're able to get back in terms of your mandatory grants is on 30% of that and 50% of the tax benefit claimed. Where does this benefit come from? Is that at the end of the day, you're saying to us, guys, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
You need to, you've spoken about all these things that we can offer, and you've spoken about having 5 learners and 3 learners, and we're going to offer short skills programs. You're going to train my staff up. You're getting me these tax benefits. You may say, is it good, too good to be true?
Yeah.
That's certainly, what we also take into account when it comes to the secondary model, so that you can put your trust and say, well, you know what, you guys don't do your job, you don't get paid. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And that's how we like to look at this, because at the end of the day, you are entrusting us to do the skills development facilitation. You're trusting us to ensure that the training is actually good. So there's 2 things here, is that you've got the process that has to unfold, and a lot of liaison with the WNR CETA, a lot of applications, a lot of you don't have to be invoicing. We invoice on your behalf. You get paid, so it comes into your bank account. So when it comes to learnerships, the 18,000 that we're talking about in terms of the delivery fee, as well as your stipends, comes into your bank account. It doesn't come into our bank account. So that gives you that level of safety as well around that. But at the end of the day, we are an institution that likes to put our money where our mouth is. We need to trust in the product in order to deliver it back. Yeah. The flat model, if you have already been awarded learners, which you may have already done, you might have done that through another institution, or you might have found ways of using a consultant or so on. Again, we would only be looking at that learnership and also on the unit standards for a short skills program. Again, no other costing involved there, and that would be paid by the CETA. It's not going to be paid by you. So what we're looking at here is that there's no cost effect other than the retainer on the primary, but obviously the rest of the benefits flow in terms of, you want to look at it in a way of free labor, the tax benefits, your ETR grants, your mandatory grants that will be claimed back, and then the actual training. So the delivery of the training programs that we take pride in. We really take pride in the fact that it's not just you don't just come in for a training session where you got someone that's boring, just training you about something that actually you didn't really want them to be trained on. And we know there's a lot of companies out there that offer training, but for us, the benefit comes in from good training, not just training.
We're investing a lot of time now, and I don't want to, be ahead of all the plans that we're talking about here. But I mean, we all know, with oil company trainings, basically, with your petrol attendants, all of them train the same way. You direct a car to the pump, you greet, you smile, you offer to check oil, water, and windscreen, standard thing. But I think right now it's about time that we rave our stuff. Let's talk about customer experience. Yeah, we've been talking about customer service for the longest time.
It's an experience.
But how about we talk about experience, Because I think that we need to just up the game a little bit.
It's no longer just delivering a service. It's no longer just offering your customer just to get your windscreen cleaned, do your tires.
Yeah.
They want an experience when they come into a site. And as you see sites evolving, and we've spoken on this before in other sessions where the service station is evolving, the industry is evolving greatly. Oil companies are evolving with that in terms of convenience offerings and what do you offer at site, how do you offer it. It's not just a fuel station anymore, it's a service station in terms of offering the various services. And we look at it as customer experience now, not customer service, because that's where the differentiator comes in, that you can actually be an experience. I mean, who really wants to go to a service station and fill up? It's a grudge purchase. So ultimately, taking on the offering really does, give you access into the special projects. It gives you access into, receiving these various benefits, but also any other benefits that perhaps come along the way in the year. If there's certain short skills that can be offered during the year, those benefits would automatically be passed to businesses that are part of the program.
Yeah. So I think let's just pause here, Mark.
Sure.
I can just sense that there's a lot of questions. There are people that want some clarities, questions, and maybe something that you didn't get it clearly, and we just want to give you this 10 minutes back to you just to ask any questions or any clarity that is needed. And so we're happy to do that. Can we see if there's any hands, any comments section? Is there anything that you guys can bring to our attention? Yeah. So I think, ultimately what we wanted to do here is to tell dealers how much money can we save them every year. If I were to summarize this, is how much money can we actually save you every year? There are a lot of dealers that are battling with, tax, because some of them are making profits. But these are just legal ways on how to avoid paying some of these taxes. But there are also new dealers that will be facing this thing. They may be paying loans at the moment and are not really reporting a lot of taxes. But the good thing is you will have a recurring loss, which will then you still benefit out of this in the next year or two, or the coming years, whatever. Yeah, because if you've got an assessed loss in this financial period, you can still continue and just keep banking these losses. They'll come in handy one day. So that's basically in the main what we really wanted to drive to yourselves.
There's one question about who do we register with for SDL?
Who do you register with for SDL? That is Department of Labor. We can help. We can help with that. So if you're not registered for SDL, that's like a very
it's more of that's a
fundamental requirement. Yeah,
compulsory requirement for your business in any case. So upon the startup of the business or takeover of the business, there's obviously the various government parts that need to come in terms of UIF, SDL levies, etc. Because that's all a government it's a government policy if you want to look at it. So if you do have that, perhaps you can just drop us an email, which we can then obviously assist with putting you onto the right people.
Yeah, Ms. Chaba, maybe you can just put some of our contact information on the chat box for people that want to follow up with certain questions or anything. I think the one important thing that I wanted to say is it does happen that your business is not registered under the WNRC as its primary SETA. So there's a process that we'd have to do. So first and foremost, if you do sign up with us, we will then have to check first if your business is actually under the WNR SETA. If it is not, there's a process that would have to follow to make sure that it belongs to the right SETA, so you can take advantage of these benefits that we spoke about. Some of service stations are still belonging to MERSETA, because at some point we used to belong to MERSETA, but our SETA, our correct SETA at the moment, if you're a fuel retailer, you should be under WNR SETA.
Greetings to you all. I'm happy that I was selected to attend these classes. Firstly, I would like to thank them for giving me this opportunity, and I've learned a lot of things about the different personalities, the ethics, code of conduct. So what I've been doing here is I've been learning so much. I don't even know where to begin, because a lot of things were unpacked, things that were happening around us in our environment that we just chose to ignore. But when these things were brought up to us, we realized that we had to take action. So we've learned so much, and thank you to Mr. Colin for bringing this up to us. We've learned a lot about communication, about being positive, about what you do. We've learned about code of conduct. We've come to understand a lot of things that we didn't clearly understand because due to lack of communication. But now we have a very clear understanding. And then I can say that our confidence has been boosted up.
But since I've been in this course, I've learned that communication is key in life in general. So the work I do with communication, with the skills I've learned there, I can implement them. I can make life more easier at work. It's easier now to communicate with my senior members. It's easier to communicate with my fellow colleagues.
I'm walking out here with my head up to say, you know what? It benefited me in a very good way, and I'm ready to take the next step and to grow.
All right, welcome, Mr. Goba.
Thank you.
We have asked Mr. Goba here, who's one of our clients, to just come and say one or two words in terms of how have your experience been. So I'm going to just leave it to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. My name is Sibusi Sokoba, dealer and owner at Total Energies Bamshela. Look, we went through the process of identifying skills gaps in our site, obviously with the help of PetroConnect, and we developed the work skills plan as well to assist us in terms of our skills development programs. Of course, it's one of those very important aspects in terms of improving our service levels at our site. And of course, when the skills development grant window opened, we took that opportunity to say, let's apply. And of course, we did that through our agreement or our work with PetroConnect, which is obviously have been very helpful in terms of facilitating our skills development programs for our staff. So, look, we went through the process of collecting CVs for the unemployed.
How many unemployed did you get?
We had we got 10 unemployed staff, and then 5 for skills. For skills, yeah.
Okay.
Which was quite important. Obviously, one of the most important aspects to these types of opportunity is that you have staff that have not had the opportunity to study, in a formal setup after matric, and these skills programs, they give you that opportunity to upskill your staff and to give them the opportunity to study in a formal setup. And of course, this definitely helps with the operations on site in terms of service levels, less customer complaints, because you're able to offer a more complete customer service experience, which is very beneficial for the business. This is my testimony in terms of how as a retail operator or as a site operator can actually assist you in terms of operations. I think we all appreciate and understand the difficulty of running a fuel retail site, and there's a lot to contend with in terms of compliance, safety, health and safety, and all of those aspects. So I would really highly recommend that people sign up with PetroConnect and take this opportunity to improve their operation and improve their skills level of their staff. Thank you so much.
No, thanks. I truly appreciate you coming through. And I think for me, I don't know, maybe I'm a bad salesman. Even if you don't sign up with PetroConnect, but at least take advantage of this through whoever it is that can assist you.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be us. We're not exclusive to these processes. You can go to a reputable other institution if they can help you. But if not, come. Let's help you. It's real. We dealers. We want to make you a bit. I mean, we're struggling. We're struggling for margins. We're struggling. We're coming from looting. We're coming from a very difficult time in our country. We're coming from skyrocketing pump prices, and people have actually found innovative ways of working. Our volumes are really under serious constraints, and that is why we're starting to think of other ways of how to stretch our rand a little bit further. So please do so. Maschaba, did you put our information on the chat box? For those of you that would like to get in touch with us, we will gladly welcome you just reaching out to us.
So thank you very much to everyone for joining today. We hope it's been an insightful session and that you've enjoyed it and gained something out of it. We will be hosting, more sessions, in the new year, and hopefully it just becomes a sharing and insights session, and also that you also come with your own insights, and we work together as retailers in this ever evolving industry.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Hi everyone, I'm also one of the attendant at PetroConnect. The most important parts for us at our workplace is conflict, because I've seen that there's a lot of people who aren't getting along and there's no way to actually sort that out.
The course was very interesting. I learned a lot of things, especially being in management for the last 6 years. I have learned that time management is very important, especially with the production line. And I would enjoy doing this course again. It was very nice.
Work, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. So we're learning about communication. That's going to help us to communicate to our customers.
The one thing I liked about the course was knowing about conflicts. There's no reason for you to avoid conflicts, because sometimes it can help improve the way we communicate at the workplace. So that is what I'm going to implement in my workplace.
And what I've learned and I want to adapt at my workplace is communication, because most of the time when we work, we don't communicate with our managers, and maybe sometimes you want to say something but you're scared to say it, and when someone comes and says to you, it came the wrong way. So the only thing I can say is that I've learned communication.